We're talking about spiritual awakening with Tiffany Lee. Hi, Tiffany.
Gwen.
Welcome to New Answers podcast, where, as most of you know, everyday people discuss solutions to life challenges based on our personal experience. Nurturing spirituality is our subtext, lifting up direct connection to the source of all creation for life challenging solutions. So, Tiffany, this topic was something you suggested, and I think it came to you because of the classes that you're taking to kind of ground you more in spirituality and science of mind. But I see you based on the conversations that we've had, having a history of having a direct connection to the source of all creation and already grounded in spirituality. So why spiritual awakening
Um,
for you?
well, it's really for everyone. It's just kind of the season. We're in the middle of this mass
Okay.
awakening with people. So spirituality, we couldn't have these conversations just 10 years ago and without it just being like weird or um
For sure.
yeah, right? It's so
Yeah.
much more accepting now because there's so many people that have been going through the awakening.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, I've had spiritual gifts um and spiritual experiences since I was a child. And I went to my priest, I went to nuns, I went to multiple pastors to ask them about it, and they could never give me an answer, being raised first Catholic and then Christian. So, um, as the awakening happens, just more information is coming out there, kind of like what we're doing. You know,
Yeah.
we're just our our channel is really for people on the cusp of it, really,
Yeah.
where it's kind of like, what is happening? Like, I would love to have this channel years ago when I kept going to people
Me
to
too.
ask, like, what is happening with me? Why is this happening? Or, how does this fit
Yeah.
into the Bible and stuff like that? So, and that's kind of like where the awakening happens. I think it's little things that happen in someone's life where they start questioning their the religion that they're in, the dogma of it. Now's a great time to question. I think we're going to have a lot of
Me too.
awakening of the Christian nationalist involvement with Trump and everything going on, where it's just literally like if you say you're Christian and you're following Christ, everything he's doing is literally the Antichrist, you know?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of Christian churches that will say that, like, you can't be a good person following this guy. And there's those that strong Christian nationalists that make him like the next Christ. So that's waking people up too.
Okay.
Um, I know a
So
lot that left my church since since Trump has been in power.
really? Oh. So what I was going to say is, so when I heard you talk about spiritual awakening, I thought it came from you because of the classes that you're in. I think it's the science of mind kind of classes, and that, you personally were having a spiritual awakening and then kind of projecting that out into the larger society. So, but
Well,
yeah,
that
you're right.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it is kind of connected to what you're saying because it is about the greater society really waking up to things that and coming to some realizations that I don't know that they would have a few years ago. Like you said, 10 years ago, we couldn't have these conversations. And so, and the reason that we're having these conversations, that we have this channel, and are offering up this channel to have these conversations is to, as we say, nurture that spirituality. Like we're all having these experiences individually, and we're thinking that we're alone in this, and we're not. And that there are other people having these experiences as well. And what I mean by those experiences is, we are having these small blips of connection to the divine invisible. We talked about them before, these out of body experiences that everybody talks about, but they don't really talk about. Now they're starting to talk about it.
Right.
deja vu, thinking of somebody and then they show up, those kinds of things that we've talked about before. And now we're having it in conversation in community, you know,
Exactly.
which has
Exactly.
made it more, I don't know, it's more open, more accepting than it would have been 10 years ago. People would have looked at you cross-eyed, like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Or,
And of course,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, of course, there are people out there that have been doing it forever, for a long time, like studying signs of mind. Now, I've heard of it, or religious science, I've heard of it, but I didn't know what it was about. And really, I felt like the Christian church would have kind of poo-poo away
Yeah,
from that. Like, do not look at anything except what we have right here, you know.
exactly. Yeah.
And for
Anything
me,
else
it was,
is a cult, Yeah, they
yeah, yeah.
put that in
But
there.
for me, it was just when they weren't really supporting me in my nonprofit, which I felt like this is what we're supposed to do, feeding the hungry, And then I wanted to start a single mothers ministry, and they were like, no, we don't support, it makes it look like we support divorce. And I was like, okay, that was my last straw. But Ye- and a few other things. Like my kids have shown spiritual gifts too from the time they were young. So I just always was like, I need to figure this out. And then I met someone who kind of encouraged me to look elsewhere. Like I told him, I was like, I go to the pastors and stuff like that all the time. He's like, well, you're just looking in the wrong place.
Mm,
So since we all have our angels, we all have our spirit guides, we have a connection to God. The Bible says, seek and you will find.
yes.
As soon as you start saying, I want to know more, I'm seeking, then um then answers will come into your energy field. You will go on Instagram or TikTok, or you'll meet someone. It will start happening. So that's the awakening. It's literally orchestrated by the divine. They're like, oh, you want to know? Okay, we're here for you. And you'll learn a little bit at a time, that you learn as you're ready to go. If what I learn right now, I just had class yesterday, the things I learned, say, in class yesterday, if it was told to me just even 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, at the beginning of my true awakening, I wouldn't have understood it. I would have been like, this is too weird. But because I've been getting the info a little bit at a time over the years, now
Mhm.
I'm in the part where, since I am in practitioner school, to be a spiritual practitioner, I can get a lot of it. But even in class last night, me and the other student in there, we were like mind blown with, it's
Yeah.
literally, when they say change your thinking, change your life, it's rewiring the brain completely, opening your eyes, expanding your awareness to the universe and how this world works. Um, for the most part, I would say every person has their circle of information. And unless you seek to expand that information, you won't. You'll just
Mm,
be there. But there's so much access now, like YouTube, there's tons of programs on there, with all levels of spirituality. And a lot of that spiritual community on YouTube, they're beginning to know each other. So
oh,
yeah.
good.
And have I'm seeing like people that I've been following for the last 3 years show up on each other's podcasts as guests and collaborating too. So it's it's definitely a growing community. And they all say the same thing, like we couldn't do this 10 years ago. Now it's out in the open.
Oh, this is so inspiring because this is what I'm hoping this podcast will do, that we will grow exponential,
Right.
whatever that word is, because we will all be collaborating together, you know, and in that way, the Christ consciousness, God consciousness is elevated and it's
Hmm.
out in the world and it becomes the dominant force out there rather than the shady side.
Right.
Because I think there's more of us than there is that shady side. Yeah.
Definitely is. They just um that 1%, right? They've just been in charge for a really long time. I do think that collective is um ascending is what is the terminology.
Ascending. Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's our awareness, it's our awakening.
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
awakening to like, hey,
Oh,
things don't have to be this way. This is not true. And that's really what it is. And the most important part of the awakening is knowing where your information comes from, which is
yeah.
wisdom, and that comes from the infinite mind. Like, so when I have an awakening, it's normally during meditation or when I first wake up, sometimes, or actually a lot of times in the shower as well. Just certain times when you're just in your own space, in a relaxed, you have to be kind of like in a relaxed, higher frequency type of energy. And that's when I get my downloads. And so those downloads, it's, I'm downloading wisdom from source. And when I look back at them, sometimes I'm like, what? If I'm not in a space, I'm like, what? But, but every time it happens, it changes your perspective on something on life and living life now. I've
Yeah.
noticed every time it happens, it's a lesson. It's basically a lesson straight from God, is what it is. And it goes straight to the heart. So it changes you a little bit and you become more and more awake. And they really come when you're ready for it. When Jesus
Yeah.
says, let the eyes that can see, see, let those that can hear, hear. He's not saying, are you blind or deaf? He's saying, are your eyes ready to see the truth? Are your ears ready to hear more truth? You know,
Yeah.
so and
Yeah.
you just have to start asking.
Yeah, and what I've come to realize, and I'm not in any formal classes, but I just, am in communion, I think, even though it's virtually, with my International Spiritual Center, Agape. And what I've come to realize is that it's not it is the seeking that you want to continue to pursue. If you're seeking what your purpose is. Um, so being open to whatever the answers are for that, and don't get caught up in the how of it. Just be willing to seek and ask the question. And then, as you were saying, those the source of all creation will create circumstances where those resources and opportunities and the people will just flow into your life with the messages that you need to hear at the time that you need to hear them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of being in a position, like you were saying, like some people think a relaxed energy is what I think you said. And some people think, I would say, meditation, and then people automatically go to, oh yeah, you got to sit in a certain position with your legs crossed and da da da, but not necessarily. It's just being in a place where you're able to hear or see the messages that are coming at you and the angels that come around you that send you these messages, And it's about being so open and aware that that you see them as messages, right? That
Right.
yeah, they're there answering a question that you've asked. Um, and this is about, what we're trying to do is to help open us up to that. And those instincts that you get, don't ignore them.
Don't
Don't pay close attention because they're really guiding you with the solutions that you need to the questions that you're answering, that you're asking, or the quest that you're seeking, you
right.
know.
Right. We were talking about it last night in our class, intuition, and we're reading Thomas Troward and comparing him to Ernest Holmes and their concepts of where tuition comes from. And um, so, and Ernest Holmes is the one that started religious science, but they're both new thought people from 100 years ago, right? So, um, there's three elements of God, whereas there's spirit, the law, and the creation. So we're the creation, and everything on earth and everything is the creations. There's spirit, God, the law, how God works to create. It's like kind of like a funnel, right? That's what we
Oh.
believe our faith with
Hmm.
um so Torah believes that intuition comes from the law. That because once we put something into the law, like I want a new car, then the law starts working automatically. Like we don't really have to do it. The law starts working and it starts giving us little um, opportunities to follow a path, or um, just instructions. Someone comes in our life, we follow a path, opportunities happen for us to get to that car. So he believes when we get intuition, that's coming from the law that's working because once you put something into law, it's working it out how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it starts giving you clues. So that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
little clues, like, go down the street to this person, you
Yeah.
know. So, but in contrast, Holmes says it comes directly from spirit,
Mm.
that it's just spirit seeing where you are and
Mm.
giving you help directly. So either way,
Either way, yeah.
either way really comes from spirit though, right?
That's right.
It
That's
works.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I hear in that is that we don't have to do a whole lot of thinking about it, a whole lot of work, what would be considered work. We just
Hmm.
put it out into the universe and we will get the clues, the answers, or the clues to the answers if we just sit back and allow ourselves, in that relaxed energy
Right. So that's
to
why
to receive it so that
the
we don't.
instructions.
Yeah, say that again.
I said yes to receive the instructions basically. Yeah.
Yes, the instructions, exactly. So that and to me, that's like, oh, okay, I can just. So it's not like I have to work it out in my mind how to go about doing this. That
Right.
makes it so your life so hard. And while I'm saying this, it's so easy to say, isn't it?
Easy
Easy
to
to
say,
say,
hard to do. I
but
can't
to
say I
do
master
it.
it. Yeah.
Exactly, because then what happens is ego, right, gets in the way.
Hmm.
And ego says, "Oh, how do I go about doing? What do I have to, what do I have? You don't have to do anything. You just have to put that out into the universe, and the law, and the source of all creation will do the workings, whatever it takes to get you to that
Right.
solution."
Right. And that's where we have to listen to the intuition. We have
Yes.
to be able to hear it. And that's so apparently you can't really hear it if you're anxious or fearful or nervous, right?
Yeah.
Or really important, if you think it has to come a certain way.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah,
Because it
because we
doesn't
get in our
like,
minds, ego,
mhm.
edging God out, right? Ego, edging God out, gets in the way.
Exactly.
And it ends up making life much more difficult for you. And to me, that's where, I mean, maybe it's degrees of, but that's where hell comes in. That you create your own hell, right?
Yeah.
It's no place that you go necessarily down there, but it's how you live your life that will create um, that energy or that negativity of hell because you're not paying attention to your intuition, to your instincts, to the messages that are coming at you that guides your path to the solutions that you're seeking.
Right.
Oh my God. So, I mean, I love this. And I have to keep, we as human beings, because we have this ego and this consciousness and the subconscious or whatever. So we have to keep reminding ourselves about this. And I know I have to too. It's easy, like I say, it's easy for me to say it, but to do it, I have to keep reminding myself, okay, just relax. You don't go with the flow of the universe, the law of the universe, okay? Um,
Right, right. Yeah, Troy was saying that when we get the intuition, the intuitive hits,
mhm.
our if we hear it, then our first instinct is to ignore it. And isn't that true? That's when people
Yeah,
go, dang it, I just knew that. Yes, you
yeah,
did. You actually did know that. But it
yeah,
may not be logical to what we think. And that's the reason why we do that, because it's not it's not logical to the way our mind works. But there's that verse in the Bible that says God's ways are not like our ways.
yeah,
And so we have to keep that in mind. Like when we say we want something, I'll use the car example again. We want a new car. So automatically we're like, okay, we're going to look in the paper or whatever, or online, what kind of car we want. You pick it out, you see the price, then you're like, okay, now I need to make money for this. If you don't have the money already, the normal process for us, we would think like we have to have the money, we go to a car lot, pay for it. If we don't have the money, then we have to wait and save it. So that's one way of doing things. But
yeah,
the infinite mind, the God of all creation, the the source of all that there is that always says yes to us has multiple ways that can happen.
yes.
Multiple ways. We can't count the ways. We don't know all the ways, and
Right,
so
right.
we can block our blessings by being too persistent that it has to happen the way that we know it can happen.
Yeah.
And that's what they mean by detach. Decide what you want and then detach from it. Kind of forget,
Um,
put it out there in the universe, in prayer or whatever you want to call it, source, and let them work it out. And but just listen, detach from it. Don't be
yeah,
like, I really want that. It's don't confuse your energy, you know, and be willing to receive it however ways it comes.
that's an important message. I mean, people listening to this, if you need to go back and rewind to hear what Tiffany just said, do that. Because that's a very important point to make. That you just put it out into the universe and then you detach yourself from how that's going to happen.
Right.
Because it's not going to be maybe the way you think it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So just sit back and just kind of, relax in the knowing that it's going to happen, but you don't know how. And it's not your business to know how. It's
Right.
your
It's
business.
God's business.
It's God's
Yeah.
business. Just surrender,
Right.
right? We talked
Exactly.
about that before. Surrendering to the divine invisible.
Surrendering control because we
Yeah,
don't have the control.
yeah,
We don't, we never have, and we never will. And that's a hard thing for us to realize when if you think like control of your life, like are we? We are to a certain extent. I don't want to say that because we create our life, right? But
yeah,
we create by desire, by thought, by speaking. We're
right.
constantly creating by every choice we make. So,
Yeah,
but we don't know the steps 5 feet down the line. We just
right.
know we're given a choice every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Get up or stay in bed, brush your teeth, don't brush your teeth, shower, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Go to the store, don't go to the store, go to work, don't go to work. And every decision we make sets a path. Like every decision sets a path. And that's
Mm.
every decision you make is the first cause to the path. So have you heard of first cause?
Have I heard of it? Yeah, I've heard of
Yeah, the
it.
term, okay, because we
Yeah.
use it a lot, but first cause, like the ultimate first cause is God, is
Mm-hmm.
when he was no thing and decided he wanted to make something. So
Mm.
the first cause was just him making that very first something. And then from something, everything is being made, been made, or whatnot, then there comes us, So there's all the universe, there's the planets, there's the earth, there's people, there's animals. Creation never stops. It's like continuously going. and where we are part of creation is with every thought that we have and every
Hmm.
action. Um, and to every action is a, you know, reaction.
There's a reaction.
Yeah, every cause is an effect.
Hmm.
So, um, and this is part of the awakening, and this is part of what you awaken to. Because before your awakening, I'm kind of circling back to what we started talking about. See, but before
Yeah.
your
It's
awakening,
happening.
a lot of times we think we're just these human beings here on earth, and things happen to us, and we set goals, and we want to do these goals, and then things are happening to us, and bad luck comes, or this and that. Where that's the awakening is realizing that's not true. We are spiritual beings in this human body experiencing life, but we are literally creating our life with our thoughts and actions all the time, every minute. We're
All
co-creating
the time.
all
Absolutely.
the time, every minute. So whatever your life is like right now, you created that. So if you want to go back to first cause, if you're like, what's happening in my life that I don't like? Obviously, you're gonna have things you like and things you don't like.
Hmm.
What is happening in my life that I don't like?
Hmm.
Identify it. Don't look at the condition. Go back to try to figure out the cause, the thought process that you had that got you there.
There you go.
Change your life. That's what you have to change. That thought process.
That thought process has to change. Yes. And in that way, I know in agape, co-creator is what is commonly the term that's commonly used, that we create along with the divine invisible. So that makes us co-creators with the divine invisible.
Right.
It's about where it starts. Like, what is that thought process that started you on this path? And does that need to change?
Right.
That's what you
Exactly.
have to pay attention to and listen to, what we were saying before. Pay attention to all of, your instincts, your intuition, but the messages that are coming at you from different sources, maybe people you don't even know.
Right.
You don't know where it's going to come from. It's going to come.
Come.
Just be
It will
open
come.
to it.
Seek
Mhm.
and you will find. And it's not like you will find because you're seeking. It's like seek. It's like you're letting source know, and you will find because he's going to put it right in front of you. But your eyes have to see it. So
Yeah.
when you repeating numbers, some people will call angel numbers. Yeah, possibly it's the angels talking to you. You can Google online, like mine is 444. That is during a certain time. I saw that a lot when I first started my awakening, 444. It's basically saying the angels are with you. It's just remind.
Oh,
So your angels, from what I've learned, they are always with you. You have guardian angels, you have as spirit guides, you have ancestors. Like you're not if you're alone in the room, you're never alone in the room. So that can freak people out. But they will give you messages, and so you want to see the messages, you want to be aware, you want to expand your mind to look at things and realize nothing's coincidence.
yeah.
Nothing's a coincidence. We've literally created everything, and we're co-creating with. We put a prayer out there. We put it into the universe. We're giving it to God. Um, the law starts working in it, but we also have our spirit guides and we have our angels, and they're
Mhm.
working for us. But you have to ask them.
Mhm.
So every once in a while, I don't remember to do it. I'll when I remember, I'll say, like, hey, angels, can you help me with everything for as long as you can until I remember again. I don't know if that really works, but I literally broaden that out because I know I don't remember. I give you permission to help me all the time.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know. So this is just so even though you're in class, I feel like I'm in class too. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
because I always bring
enrolled
it
in
to
any
you.
class because you're bringing it to me, and then we're bringing it to whoever's out there listening to us,
Right.
which is a great thing, I think, because that's how we are creating, but also, solidifying our community of people,
Hmm.
and growing that network of people who feel and believe in the same way that we are. Um, and as we said, we both come from different, um, in terms of our religious backgrounds. We could both come from different backgrounds. You Catholicism, me Presbyterianism, I guess is what that is. And but we have arrived at the same place in terms of spirituality.
Right.
And believing that this is the path. When I first walked into, I think I told you this story before about how I came to Agape. I was seeking some spiritual home when I first moved to California from upstate New York. And this was in 86, I moved out here. And then got involved with a book club with a coworker, and we were trying to find a date for our next book club meeting. And this one member, I guess we landed on a Sunday at a 10 o'clock or something, and she said she couldn't do it because she was, you know, she was it was in conflict with her time that she spent at her spiritual home, I guess. And I was puzzled by that. Like, you can't miss one Sunday, because it wasn't going to
Right.
be like a standard time that we were all going to meet. It was just, it was random. And you can't miss one Sunday. And she said, no. I said, I need to go to your church. It's like, I'm sure the message is going to be this, say whatever. So she said, okay, if you want to come to my church, I'll invite you to go. So I did go, and I felt like I was home. And I said, oh, this is what she was talking about. Why you can't miss a time. You can't miss any of those gatherings.
Right.
Because
The
I felt
energy.
it was just incredible that I would feel that way. And I said, now I understand why you can't miss it. It was only one visit that made me say that. I felt like I was home. It felt like it made so much sense to me what they were talking about, in the way that, um, I guess our reason for being on earth. It was like answering that question for me, which is what I couldn't get from my upbringing in the Presbyterian church.
Right. See, and that's kind of like where how it starts. It's like a question and it can't get answered there because they don't want to. They don't want to answer
Yeah,
it. You know what I
right.
mean? A lot of the stuff that I'm learning is, none of it's new, none of it's um made up or new. It's ancient, ancient, ancient from the
It
beginning of
is.
it really goes back further. Um, and most religions know it too. It's
I
just
think
that,
so.
say, the Jewish religion, they teach kind of their Bible, the Quran. No, the Quran. The Quran is Muslim, right? Yeah,
Muslim, I think. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, the Torah, the Torah is,
Hmm.
yeah. So whatever. They teach theirs and they teach a certain amount, but they have another section, the Kabbalah, which you can go to the Kabbalah Center and you can look at Kabbalah stuff. But prior to like the 50s or 60s, um, they didn't believe the knowledge of the Kabbalah should be in everyone's hands. So only leaders got it. And
Oh,
it's the same information we're learning, really, with Science of Mind.
hmm.
Um, the Catholic leaders had they also reserved that the spiritual part of the faith just for the leaders as well. They didn't believe it should be in everyone's hands.
Hmm.
Um, and Christian, yeah, the Christians, and they have the Messianic, Masons, they
Oh,
still
yeah.
have too. So it's not new. It's been around. It was just information that was held back for reasons of control. Because here's what happens when you
Yeah.
awaken, spiritually awaken, you realize who you are, that you're a spirit, you're part of God. We are gods in ourselves, and we are co-creators with God, where we can control our lives. it
Right.
makes it harder to control people like that.
Yeah.
Um, so King James, when he created his Bible, he created so that he could have more control over the people. So they
Mm.
left out a lot of information. Yeah.
Mm. Now, so I think that might be the first time I've heard that in terms of the version of the Bible that, people sort of ascribe to being King James, and it came out of that. And it makes sense to me that, yeah, okay, I can see how King James version would leave out a lot because that means that they would have more control over the people, and it comes from the king. So, but until you said that, it didn't occur to me, and it didn't, wasn't any information that I'd heard before
Right.
about the version. I do know that a lot of these religions, and the interpretation of whatever document it is, whether it's the Bible or the Torah or the Quran or whatever, it's about controlling folks.
It
And that's, I think, I mean, I don't know that I got it from my first visit to Agape, but certainly in subsequent visits, how I came to believe that it wasn't this dogma that they really ascribed to. It was like, um, and I think at one point they said that they're not about creating followership, they're about creating leadership, and that we can have a direct connection to the source. We don't need,
Yes.
like I call them intermediaries. We don't need all these intermediaries to interpret stuff for us. We can have that direct connection to the source, and that's what spoke to me. That's yeah, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. So, yeah, the King James version of the Bible. Oh no, 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 no. I mean,
The Ethiopian version, if anyone wants to look into it, that has books in it that the King James took out that is a lot more spiritual. So if you ever want to look into that,
uh,
look for the Ethiopian version because of Enoch, and that's all about the fallen angels and yeah, and then you can Google and find lost scriptures of Mary and Thomas.
mm,
So those are other ways of um, seeing teachings that Jesus taught
hmm
that are more spiritual. So my goal as a practitioner when I'm done with schooling is I like to reteach the Bible from a more spiritual awareness angle, because there's a lot of metaphors in there. And there's also, I mean, I taught the Bible as a Christian for 10 years, and there's definitely things where you just teach and you don't even think about the fact that you're not understanding what you're teaching. So
Yeah.
now going through my studies, I'm just kind of like, when I hear Bible verses, I'll sometimes watch my own pastor and just be like, oh my gosh, like I'm hearing this so different now, makes so much more sense. It's
Yes.
so much empowering. So yeah,
Yeah. I know in Agape they use the term, I think even in their purpose statement, the phrase new thought, ancient wisdom. So like you said, this stuff has been around forever. It's been around forever.
been around forever. Yeah, and it
But
is.
but
I
it's
was
been,
wondering why they used to call it New Thought, because
yeah, oh
even what we're studying is 100 years old. But the
yeah,
reason why it's New Thought is because our brain, our mind works one way and is working from the ego. When
right.
you're awakening from the heart and it's rewiring
It
the
is
way you
rewiring.
think. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the new thought.
that's
Yes.
the new thought. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, it's just it's wonderful. It's just
Yeah.
wonderful. I like that aspiration that you have about, teaching the Bible from a spiritual point of view once you've had,
Yeah.
your studies. And probably you're going to be doing that along the way anyway, right? Because
Right.
you do readings, and
Yeah.
you have consultations, I guess, with folks.
I do. I
Hmm.
do. And
And we have put we'll put in the description how you can contact Tiffany if you want a reading.
right.
And you'll see that from, all of the recordings that we've had that we've posted. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. And my readings are not just psychic readings, it's more like spiritual
Hmm.
guided readings. So I channel the readings through, and it's guidance to bring you to your highest life, your highest timeline. Because of what and as I do them, I'm learning and growing in my gifts even more, which is something that's been really amazing for me. But
Yes.
what I've noticed with lately is what I see is like paths. So I'll see a path for people, and some will be there will be like a lighter path and a darker path. And so I guide them towards the lighter path, and that lighter path is towards their highest self, and their
Mm.
the highest self, basically, highest life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you see these two paths with everyone that you are encountering, that that you're having a consultation with, the lighter
Um,
side and the darker
I
side,
don't
or
want to,
it depends.
yeah, I
It
don't want to say
depends.
everyone, but
Okay.
a lot of the people I work with are people that work with, um, that are in life changes, and they're people making
Ah,
conscious effort to make changes in their life. So they're
yeah.
active, you know, and those are my kind of like my favorite to work with because if I give them advice or like
Hmm.
this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm seeing as the path, and they take it, then they have huge, like quantum leaps in their life.
Mm.
So, and it's exciting for me too. Like I can talk to them and they'll be like, this is what happened, and it's been amazing,
Hmm.
But there's other people and I can help at every level. That's kind of like the higher level of my clients where they have these because they're already very focused on making changes in their life.
Hmm.
So it's just kind of like I'm assisting them with that. I mean, there's some people that want to call and just be like, am I gonna get a boyfriend? Or like I'm having this trouble with my relationship.
Hmm.
Um, if they if I give them advice and they don't listen, then it's just looping, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to the cause and they may not understand the first cause. This is why this is happening.
Yeah.
Because you're just looking at the situation right now and not understanding the energy in the situation where it came from, and you don't change that,
Right.
then you're just going to stay in the same cycle,
Oh,
and
that's such valuable
every time they
information.
call, it'll be that. And I don't work with that much. I like to work with people that are going to progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because well, anyway, I guess what I was hearing is I was hoping that you could co come in contact with people who with your help, realize that they're in this loop, that they're repeating the same thing, and that in order to get
Yeah.
out of that loop,
Yeah.
what is your original, what is the original, what is it, cause? Yeah,
Yeah. Original cause.
yeah,
And
and
then understanding that every decision you
yes,
make leads to a path. So
yeah,
sometimes to get out of the loop, you just make a different decision.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. To get you out of that loop, out of that probably hell that you think you're experiencing right now.
Right.
So you're going to make a great practitioner
Thank you.
because I'm learning, I feel like I'm growing, in with the conversations that we're having. And I think I may have said this to you before that um, I have come to a realization that whatever I do, even though I have all of these different interests, it's the podcast, it's the book, Age-Defying, Soul-Inspired Plant-Based Cooking. It's the my nonprofit leadership coaching practice that I have, and I got other things going on too. But what is the through line with that? And I guess I kind of got there maybe a little bit before this the conversations that we've been having, but it's been growing. The common thread is the desire for me to my work is about improving the human condition. And that's kind of the through line with everything that I do, even though they do seem different and sort of, not in conflict with each other, but they're just not cohesive, you know?
Right. But I feel like you tapped on something. That's part of the awakening too,
Yeah.
is we awaken to our actual purpose. And what you said,
Yes.
beautiful, And I was working with a coach and he said we did some exercise and it came down to my purpose being expression.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So, um, and then I worked with a really good psychic recently,
Mm-hmm.
months back, and she told me she channeled God direct, and she was like, God says, write in your journal every day, write poetry, practice your singing, and start writing songs. And she gave me a list of things I'm supposed to do every day. And the amazing part of that was I no one knew I wrote poetry. I just started writing poetry. I wrote it when I was younger, and it started coming again as I started through practitioner class because
Oh,
my soul's opening up, my soul and my heart, right? So I started writing poetry again just while journaling. I'd come up with a poem. So for her to say that, I was like I didn't tell her I did poetry. She literally was channeling from God. I didn't tell her I sing. And remember, singing is new for me too. I sing at the center, and she gave me instructions on how to practice. So God gave me instructions on how to practice. She was so good that she really was kind of like who I how I aimed to do my readings too. I get myself out of the way. I always do meditation first, get myself out of the way, close down that ego, and channel from source who's coming
yeah,
through for the
yeah.
person. Yeah. And a good
Wow.
spiritual practitioner or psychic or whatever, that's what they should be doing. They shouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
I will counsel, but I still counsel from source.
From
Some,
source. Yeah.
I do have a friend that is a psychic and she counsels, but she counsels still with a lot of ego. And I kind of like
Mm.
want to sometimes tell her, like, is that you or is that source talking? Because ego, my dog is pushing me right now. He's stretching, he just like hit me in the side. um, yeah, you don't want someone that's using their ego, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah. And
Wow.
you'll know it because when you speak from source, your soul feels it. And that's when you resonate. So when you hear
Mm,
the term meaning, when someone says that to you, that's when your soul is like, may not make sense, but I feel it in my body.
yeah,
Your soul.
that makes the difference. Yeah, yeah. So, as you were saying that, I was thinking, oh, could that be another topic for a future? Like, how do you, what are the criteria? What is it you look for when you're seeking a spiritual consultation? I don't know. Anyway, we can talk about that offline. That could be something to do. But this,
That would be an important thing for people. You know what? That is important because as people are waking up, a friend of mine told me too. She's like,
okay,
"How are you meeting such people with like high level um spiritual gifts?" And I was
right.
like, "Well, it's where you go, but you do have to be careful because in my journey when I was younger, I was searching to try to understand me, to know myself, to understand like what is these things happening? Why do I get these visions? There's definitely a lot of people on lower vibrations that have the gifts that know how to work the law that you want to be careful. You know,
Okay. Hmm.
maybe it is something we can talk about in the future.
I think that's a good topic. I think that's a really good topic for us to try to handle. And I think we'll do it well too. So this has been fascinating. This spiritual awakening is what we've been talking about with Tiffany Lee. Um, and we hope that for those of you who have joined us, I, I hope that you have taken something away from this and want to know what your spiritual awakening is and has been. And you can share that with us and give us your reaction to what you've heard from us today by placing your comments in the section below this video. And of course, remember to click on the subscriber button to subscribe so that you can receive any new announcements or notifications of any new postings that we have upcoming. Hopefully you don't miss anything. And I promise you, in the future, we will have folks who are subscribers to us come join us in these recordings and tell us about what it is that brought them into our network, our channel, and what their reaction is to what they heard. So for Tiffany Lee, I'm Gwendolyn Flynn, And we will see you next time.